The Optus outage was a huge debacle, not only because of the effect on customers and businesses, but also because of how they handled it. And a new report has shown Australians are worried they'll be scammed this Christmas. Joining me live is Tech Guide editor Stephen Fenech. Does Kelly Bayer Rosmarin keep the job as CEO, Steve?
Good morning, Timmy. Well, it's hard to say. Look, in the space of 14 months, there's been two major issues under her watch. We know the breach back in September last year, and we all saw just how poorly that was handled. And you would have thought that herself and the company as a whole would have taken some learnings from that and came out in front of this. Unfortunately, we just saw more of the same and a lot of disappointed customers. It was identified as a routing issue. They took them 36 hours to even admit that. And the problem that experts have found was that the routing, the way that they set up the network was that the backbone of the router had all of their services on one backbone. So their internet, landline and mobile was all on one backbone. And they thought the odds of that failing were quite low. And see what happens, the whole thing came down. So rather than having that redundancy, rather than having those three major thoroughfares going to three different sets of traffic lights, they came to one set and it took the whole network down. So the fallout from this is, I think Optus may not recover from. The customers woke up to no services, and the CEO, Kelly Bayer Rosmarin, didn't even front the media until about 6 hours after the incident, after the outage began, which I think she should have been on breakfast TV, assuring customers they're doing everything they can to restore services, but the silence was deafening until she fronted 6.5 hours later. So where do they go from here? I think that they've got a lot of work to do to patch up their reputation. Since the breach was pretty catastrophic, but their services were still maintained and customers weren't actually losing money. There was a bit of worry that their details were out in the world, but their basic services were still there. This time out, because of the complete outage, so the trifecta of outages, calls, mobile, internet, all gone. And so a lot of customers are looking now to move to other networks. And I've seen so much more movement from customers this time around they're flocking to Telstra and Vodafone and other services than I did when the breach was on.
Does she keep her job?
I'd say I wouldn't be surprised if in a week or so she might say she's moving on. That's I think I don't know how many strikes you get at Optus, but yeah, this is pretty bad. But I think it's going to come down to the numbers, Tim. The bottom line, if they bleed customers and this is going to cost them money, then they have to make some moves there.
They'll lose customers, won't they?
Oh, they're already losing them. There were lines down the street on Wednesday outside Telstra stores, outside Vodafone stores. I even got a press release from Vodafone to tell my readers that how easy it was to switch to a Vodafone plan on the eSIM of your phone. So rather than having to receive the bit of plastic, you can scan a code and you'll be connected to their network within minutes. Kogan even had a 400% increase. Kogan Mobile's runners on the Vodafone network, 400% increase in eSIM sales, and they even had 60% off the first month for customers. So they are already bleeding customers, both from mobile and broadband. And the other incident too that we haven't spoken about is the fact that you couldn't call 000. If you had an Optus landline, you weren't able to call 000. And even on some mobiles, Optus mobiles, you couldn't even ring 000 as well. So I think, and businesses, we haven't even mentioned the amount of money collectively across the country, millions of dollars lost by businesses, and the only compensation is 200 gig of data. That itself was a slap in the face as well. Data is not going to pay the bills. These companies lost a lot of money, and data, we've already got enough data anyway, so I don't think that's going to come anywhere near to compensating customers.
It all seemed a bit hurried, didn't it, the compensation? And Aussies have deep concerns about being scammed as they shop online this Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. We're coming up to Christmas time, as you said, and there was this new report from Norton that suggests that 7 out of 10 Australians have serious concerns about being scammed this Christmas. And you've got to remember, we all go online to shop. Most of us now shop online, and the cyber criminals know this. This is the biggest time of the year for them, so they're gearing up for all these people to be online to hopefully fall victim to their scams. Now, the worry is that AI is really improving the sophistication of these scams as well. What AI is able to do is to help these criminals create these amazing websites, but also too, the very common scams like text messages and emails, they're able to craft these brilliant emails and texts because they're using AI. Normally, these emails and texts come from countries where English isn't the first language, and you can easily spot usually a phishing message because of the grammatical errors and spelling mistakes. But with AI, that can look like really polished text, so you think that it looks even more legitimate. The other concern too, I think that was expressed in this report was the concern for older Australians, like parents, grandparents, who may receive a message saying, oh, this is a great deal for Christmas. Click on the link, sent to a fake website. They're giving their money away, buying products that they're never going to receive. So I think the message here is to really stay vigilant. Don't navigate to websites from links on emails. Make sure you're shopping at the site, reputable sites, and keep an eye on your bank statements to make sure that everything's above board.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Timmy. Talk to you next week.